time right. Y'all see the time right. It's almost time, baby. You ready?
I'm so ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Make sure y'all hitting the thumbs up. Make sure y'all comment and let us know where y'all tuning in from. The show Get 'Em to the Metaverse is about to start. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
Come on, make some noise. Put some fire emojis in the comment section. It's about to be insane. It's about to be insane. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's go. Yeah. It's called Get 'Em to the Metaverse. You gotta get 'em to the Metaverse. That's Joy. That's
Hey,
Joy
y'all.
over there.
Y'all.
It's me.
Jay done.
It's me right here. It's called Get 'Em to the Metaverse. You gotta get 'em to the Metaverse. Let's go. Hold up. Hey, hold up. Hey, first of all, how you feeling, Joy Rain?
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Get 'Em to the Metaverse. We are super excited for this show because we have a phenomenal guest. Oh my gosh, y'all are not ready. But before we get into that, how are you feeling today, Jay Dunn?
I'm feeling.
Oh my
God. Good.
I cannot.
I'm feeling good because we got a cool show for y'all, and it's about to go down. Get ready, y'all. Yeah. Look, listen.
gosh.
Welcome to Get 'Em to the Metaverse, where our mission is to help to make the extraordinary metaverse an ordinary part of life with the luscious, incredible, amazing, and gorgeous Joy Rain.
Aw, thank you,
And your
baby.
boy. Your boy. I mean, Jay Dunn, okay? But listen, we got one of the most amazing shows. We ending the year out, y'all, okay?
Yes.
We ending the year out, and this show, I think, stacking it up to the incredible shows we've had, may just be one of the best ones we ever had. I promise you.
I mean, okay, we just keep going higher and higher. And so you cannot expect nothing less than to top the other one. So I cannot wait until we get into this podcast today.
That's right, because it's going to be litty. Because, this is what our podcast is all about. It's about bringing some flavor to this thing, some excitement. And there's a big game that's got my excitement going outrageously bonkers, okay? I haven't been able to spend...
It has the VR community shook right now because
completely
it's
shook.
about to change everything.
And so, because it's going to change everything, we had to bring a guest that's going to change everything. And it has changed a lot of things. So, let's get into the intro for our guest, and we'll bring them on right after this. Our guest today is senior game producer with Oculus Studios at Meta, launching Asgard's Wrath 2, one of the biggest VR action RPGs ever made. Her last title was producer on Resident Evil 4 for MetaQuest 2, which won many awards, including VR Game of the Year at the Game Awards 2021. Before her time at Oculus Studios, she was on the Oculus publishing team, where she reviewed over 1,000 VR apps for publishing on the Go, Rift, and Quest Store. She's been at Meta for almost 5 years and previously worked at Sony Pictures Television on VR content accompanying original movies and TV shows. She's a listee on Forbes 30 Under 30 for 2024 in the games division and has a master's degree in game design from USC IMGD. Her work focuses on advocating for diversity, accessibility, and inclusion in games. So without further ado, please welcome our special guest, Marie Kyle.
Oh my God, what an intro. I don't know if I could live up to it, but that was awesome.
Oh no, you can live up to it. We appreciate you. Welcome once again to Get 'Em to the Metaverse. We are so excited to have you. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good now. Oh my gosh. We've been, really working hard to get this game out. But now I'm like all jazzed up. You guys just have such good energy.
Well, we appreciate that because we work really hard. And another thing we worked really hard on was these questions to make sure that we can ask you some incredible things. So you want to get into that, Joy, now? You ready to do this thing?
Absolutely. We have
Let's
to
get
give
into
the people
it.
what they want because they want to know. So the first question being, tell us about your journey into getting into the gaming industry and what led you down the path to becoming the senior game producer at Oculus Studios at Meta.
Oh my gosh, what a big question. So I think when I was in high school, I used to play a lot of games. I played a lot of games since I was a kid. And I remember asking myself, like, what's the one thing I never get tired of? And it was video games. Like, I did art at
Oh,
the
yeah.
time. I liked, like, I don't know, I liked world history. I liked all those things, but if there was one thing that I could just do forever and never get tired of, I could stay up till 3 a.m. playing, 4 a.m. doing all that stuff. It was video games. So I knew, from then I was like, whatever I do, it's gonna be for games. And then getting into XR was like, it just kind of made sense to me. Like I spent my whole life with, video games really giving a lot to me. Like it gave me a place, like a safe space where I could learn how to socialize with people, where I could, do quests and explore worlds. And I really wanted to give back to the gaming industry in like the way that it gave to me. And I thought that logical next step was just evolving into VR, which is like the ultimate gaming experience, in my opinion.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. That's dope. We're both as well lifelong gamers. It was one of the things that like completely when I met Joy was like, oh my God, like you play games? Like that's the hottest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like how can we move forward in this conversation? And then of course when you meld that with XR and VR, like our love affair for that thing is just off the roof. So that's going to lead into our second question, which would be, what was your first experience with XR and VR that made you believe that XR gaming was the future?
Oh man. Okay, so my first experience with XR and VR was actually kind of like janky, but I used to be super 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 broke, and the only opportunity I could ever get with any sort of like VR experience was at like a school club. Some random guy happened to have the Oculus DK2 from Kickstarter. And I think
Oh,
he was like
wow.
renting it from another friend too. But like, it just happened to be like a small group of people. I walked into the lab and that was like my first experience with VR games. And I freaking loved it. And,
Wow.
for a long time, I actually had like a lot of resentment kind of towards like the VR industry. Cause like I was way too freaking broke to ever think of even buying like, a VR gaming PC to play VR games. But like, since then I've been really excited to figure out like how we could make VR more accessible, how more people can get in and do that experience without having a VR gaming PC, which is why I really love the Quest 3 and the Quest 2 and the Quest line, because it's like, an more affordable way for folks to actually get in and experience these crazy worlds. So the DK2, my first experience, it was very jank, but I saw the vision, loved it, and wanted to see how I could contribute to bring it to everybody else.
Oh man, I love it. See, those are the things. You are OG. Okay, we're gonna give you the good clap.
Right.
Yes. Oh, long time. Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of those things where we weren't around in those days. Now I do have the Gear VR. I go back up.
I
I go
do
back.
too. I have so many somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the Gear VR was like my first taste of it because, like you, I had a little resentment too. Couldn't afford the
Yeah,
powerful
yeah.
PC in order to play it, And I'm looking at John Cormack, and be like, "Yo, dude, come on, help me out, like, come on." But like, listen, the Gear VR really sold me on mobile VR, like early. I was like, "This is the future. How do we get here? Whenever we get to that point, I'll buy that." And
Yes.
so it's
Dude,
really
Gear
powerful.
VR games, like they hold up. Like they're really great experiences that you can experience even with, like something as low, accessibility barrier of entry as a Gear VR. It's really, I don't know, there's some really great gems on there.
Oh yes,
Absolutely.
I completely agree.
Yeah, and so before your new role as a senior game producer, you viewed over 1,000 apps. Oh my gosh, I say that again, people. 1,000 apps for publishing within Meta in the Oculus ecosystem. What was that experience like, and has that helped you in your new role?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was such a crazy experience because it was kind of like speed running, like I don't know, an entire games career. Like so what I was doing was I was part of the content review team that reviewed all the games for Quest, Rift, and Go. So like old school Go headset. Like I was reviewing games for that as well. So
Wow. Awesome.
our team was helping. We did developer support, so a lot of developers might remember messaging me and me helping them debug their like dev dashboards and stuff. But we also reviewed, applications to make sure that there wasn't anything that went against content guidelines in there, like anything racist or anything like that. So it was a lot of applications across all those different mediums of like Quest, Rift, and Go, and it was such a crazy experience because I got to see all of the wonderful things that people were building, and like all the innovative experimental work that indie devs were doing. And for a long time, like working with those indie devs was like everything. Like it was just so great to see all this excitement and passion for this industry in a way that a lot of like AAA game studios kind of lost in a way. And so I got to play a ton of really cool game, lots of crazy ones. It was just an incredible experience of playing every VR game from like those few years that came out.
I love that.
Oh my goodness! So I mean, I can imagine you had a little bit of fatigue after a while because all those games. And then this is a question not on the list. Motion sickness. Did you ever deal with that in any type of way?
I feel like I might have really early on, but after reviewing so many games so quickly, you kind of get through it really fast. I do remember though, so it was like me and like a team of folks, really awesome folks like Bruce Wooden, Ha Huang, and Richard Duck, and a bunch of great folks from Oculus. But we had this little setup, and we all had like our little ginger chews in case we got motion sick. We would all be next to each other with all these ginger teas and stuff. And but yeah, to be honest, it was pretty easy for me to go through like a ton of apps a day without getting too much motion sickness. I think you just get used to it in a way. But yeah, I think there's such a like established understanding of what works and what doesn't work in VR already with all the documentation that's out there that for the most part, people take what works and then use that to build really innovative, like strange new things maybe on top of those. So very little motion sickness for me.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, Joy, we dealt with a little bit of the motion sickness in the
It was
beginning,
a little
right?
bit. It didn't last that long, but it was just a little bit. But I want to go back to what you said about the indie devs developing these games that you can really tell that they really put their heart and passion into it.
Yes.
That sometimes these, bigger studios, they lose that some kind of way. But I absolutely love that you saw and you were able to feel that for those indie devs of how they were, putting their passion into it. So I love it.
Yes, dude, it's like it's so magical. I remember like, one of my favorite apps I reviewed, I think it was on Go, but I think he also ported it to Rift, but it was called like Night of Queen, and it's, one person development team.
Wow.
Awesome game. Like he really brought back the spirit of some like old school retro like games in this, in his game that he created. I'll see if I can find the link and send it over to you guys. But
Please
there's
do.
just so many cute, like incredible like passion projects on from coming from indie devs. And it's like I feel like I learn just as much from indie developers as I do from AAA gaming studios.
Love
See,
it.
we love the indie devs on this side because one of our favorite indie devs is actually the maker of Figment XR, an incredible application that's wonderful in mixed reality. And we got to meet him a few times, but man, to see how he's built what he's built from nothing, and then hearing his story, we had him was blessed to have him on our show a little while ago and hear his whole story of how he almost went broke trying to make this dream happen, and now he's actually being able to be financial. Finally taking that turn where things are starting to turn around for him. It's like, wow, like this incredible to see what's happening in the space now. And so, all
Yeah,
right.
shout out to Javier. Just had to say his name. Shout out to
Yes.
Javier.
Yes, because he is incredible. Now we do want to say this. We do want to say this. A lot of focus this year is and right now is on Asgard's Wrath 2, and we gonna get to
Yes,
that. Okay, we've got to get to that. That we got a
absolutely.
whole rest of the show for that. But let's rewind to another big, huge title that came out in what was 2021, I believe,
Yeah.
which was called Resident Evil 4. Now, look, I even had to get fancy with it and make a whole scene just to talk about it. I want to hear a little bit about how long was the Resident Evil 4 for Quest in production, and why do you think it's gained so much traction on a standalone headset like the Quest 2?
Oh my gosh, dude. Resident Evil 4 was like a dream come true to work on. It's my baby. Like I love the Resident Evil series since I was like a kid. I used to play every game over and over again. I think I played like a few of them probably more than 10 times, like from start to finish. And so
Love it.
like it was insane to be able to work on that title. I think it was in development for about 3-ish years or so. Don't quote me on that. But basically, what we did was we took the original Resident Evil 4 game, the GameCube game. We upres all the textures, and then we really figured out how to rebuild all those mechanics and all the functionality of the game for VR. And that's like, it's such a crazy task to undertake because it's like a lot of creative thinking about not just how does that mechanic translate to a VR space, but also how does that feeling like translate? Like the feeling of Leon whenever he's, slicing things, the feeling of like reloading a gun, like even if it's not like, one to one, like as long as that feeling is there and it feels correct to the Resident Evil 4 universe, like it's such a fun dream project to work on. And I think the reason why it resonated so much is like, first, it's Resident Evil. Capcom never misses. A Resident Evil game's gonna do great no matter where it goes. But also, like, I think a lot of people felt that. Like, I think a lot of people felt how much care and attention the team at Armature, who developed this game with us at Oculus Studios, how much attention they put into making sure it felt great. Like you felt like a badass, Leon Kennedy in this game, and I think people felt that.
Absolutely. No, we so this is an early on thing. So when we first got into VR, it was right around that 2020 time when we both got Quest 2s and we're like, okay, we're gonna jump in. We saw Resident Evil and we ran the other way. We was like, oh no.
I can't do it.
Like we played like 5 minutes of that thing. It was like I was like we turned the brightness up. It couldn't get as bright as we needed it to. Okay. Now over time we were able to go back and get a taste of it. Now GameCube, the original, because it's on a screen. What's crazy about the scale of games in VR. We were just playing another game yesterday. Enjoy. I'm not gonna say what the name was because we was in the back recording and she was just screaming and hollering. It was too much. But the problem is that if it was on a TV screen or whatever, she wouldn't have had that issue. But for some reason, because these things are coming at you, it's like, what's going on, right? And so that's like the big thing that she was like, that's a problem. But with scale, VR is just incredible.
It feels so real.
Yeah.
Into the game instead of just playing the game on a 2D screen. It puts you into it, and so it's intense, but love it.
Yeah, but like I feel like the flip side of that is like, yes, it is scary because they're like actually there and they're actually scaring you, but also you're actually kicking their ass too. Like it's like you
very true.
On their scale, like punching like these crazy villagers and stuff like that, and monsters and stuff. So there's also like a cool power aspect to it of like, yeah, it's very real, but so are you, and you're about to kick their ass.
That's it. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. So now that we're going to transition now, because one of the big things here is that was a system seller for Quest 2. I remember that time frame. And so now we're going to shift to another system seller that we like to call Asgard's Wrath 2. And Joy's going to kick off the questions about Asgard's Wrath 2. Let's get into it, Joy.
Yes, so take us back to the beginning of Asgard's Wrath 2. How long has the game been in development, and why push a game of this magnitude on a standalone VR headset like the Quest platform?
Yeah, so Asgard's Wrath 2, obviously it's a sequel to Asgard's Wrath 1. Asgard's Wrath 1 came out in 2019, and we've basically been working on Asgard's Wrath 2 ever since. So it's been about 4 years or so that, our whole team at Sanzaru, Oculus Studios, like we've all been really heads down making this game. And I think that you can really feel that in like the 134 hours of gameplay. But yeah.
Wait, say that. Whoa. Say that one more time. You just said something like just in like the most like nonchalant way. Over 100 and wait, say that one more time.
Yeah. So we've been saying to the public it's like 60 hours, but we actually did a full like completionist playthrough of the entire game, and that's like including getting all the achievements, finishing all the requests and side quests. The main game, like itself, 60 hours or so to complete it from start to finish if you're just following the main quest line.
Yeah.
But if you're doing completionist run, it's 134 hours of content.
Wow.
Give or take, depending on how you're playing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Like, that's the biggest VR game I've ever heard. Like, I've never
Crazy.
seen a game this size. And okay, go ahead. Go back to
No,
your story.
it's crazy. You can truly get lost in this game. Like it's I've been spending every waking moment basically for the last few months just playing it over and over again just to make sure it's feeling as good as possible for all you guys out there. And like just the amount of hours I've put into this world, but I'm still finding new things. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, we came off of 2019 with Asgard's Wrath 1, and it was an incredible game that like completely reset the standards for what VR should be. And we really wanted to be like, okay, like what's next? Like, let's push this even further and let's make something freaking bigger. And let's do it on a standalone VR headset. Like we really wanted to see how far we could push, the platform, how far we could push VR, like all that stuff. And then that's how Asgard's Wrath 2 came.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Well, first, I'm just look. I gotta get the horns again. Because that just the point of this game taking 4 years. Like, and I know with AAA games it takes time. But when we saw the announcement, we were actually at AWE this year when the announcement came out from the game showcase, and we were just like, "What is this game?" We had heard about Asgard's Wrath 1. We at the time we didn't have PCVR, now we do, so we got to enjoy a little bit of Asgard's Wrath 1. But we were like, "What is this game? Why is it so gorgeous looking? How do we get it? When is it coming out?" It just said winter at the time, so knowing, and then this is the thing. They had just also showed off and talked about the Quest 3. So we're like, okay, this is running on, you would have thought, knowing that Asgard Wrath 1 was running on PC, how in the heck were you able to get it running on a Quest 2? Like, that's my next question. How did you and the team at Oculus Studios and Sensoro Games get Asgard's Wrath 2 to even run on Quest 2? Like, how?
Oh my God. I take no credit for that. That is all the incredible engineers at Sanzaru who were like, found the most clever, genius, incredible hacks in order to get this optimized for Quest. Shout out to Evan Arnold, who's the technical director at Sanzaru. He is insane. And his team is like straight up cracked. Like they're so good. But basically, every single art asset in this game, we had to be really clever about how we were optimizing it so that it would run and that you wouldn't feel like the burden of like 134 hours of content running at the same time. And so there's a ton of optimization that you'll find, a ton of like, little tricks and stuff with LODs and like, different performance things and all kinds of little things. But we were very clear about where we wanted to sacrifice some things and then where we didn't. And I think because of some of the the trade-offs we made to make this game more optimized and run better on Quest, I think it's more immersive because of those things. So it was a lot of work, a lot of very clever engineering and optimization, and somehow we pulled it off. I can't believe it myself.
It's gorgeous. We've gotten an opportunity to play this game. And we've gotten into it, and it took up a whole 2 days for us to where I had to be reminded by Joy that we needed to eat because I was like, I am a guardian now, and I have a world to save because Loki messing things up now.
Yeah, you can eat in game. There's like omelets, just eat those.
Absolutely. And so just the first, and in my first impressions video that we posted on our channel, I was like, I don't even want to give you any spoilers. I don't even want to tell you what happens in the first few minutes. Even the way you guys show the first game, like how you get to see how the first game, that whole experience, and then getting into the actual game, it just was like, I've never seen anything like it on a Quest platform, really in VR ever. And so I'm bold enough to say it's the greatest VR game I've ever played, Joy's ever played. It's absolutely incredible. So once again, shouts out to the entire teams at Oculus
Let's go,
Studios and Sunzaro Games.
Sunzaru!
Like
Yeah.
incredible stuff. All right,
Yeah.
Dylan,
Man,
what you
So,
got?
they're crazy. Sorry.
oh, no problem. And so Asgard's Wrath 2, as you said before, is full of things to do and explore, right? But not to give any spoilers, what are some of your favorite areas to play? What are your favorite heroes or follower loadouts that you can share, but not to give any spoilers?
Yes. Okay. Let's see. I like first there's so much cool stuff in this game. It's really hard to choose a favorite. My favorite hero is pretty easily Alvilda. She's actually the third player character you meet in the game, and she's like this elven rogue type character, and she has an insane like bow and arrow like mine loadout, and it is so fun to play. After you beat the game, you can go back to any of the maps as any of the characters, and I
Okay.
still choose Alvilda anytime because she's so much fun. She's an absolute monster. But so she's my favorite hero. My favorite hero follower combo is probably Alvilda and Subira. I think there's something about like their like badass energy that I just can't break myself from using Subira and Alvilda. But in terms of like moments in the game, I'm not going to give spoilers. There's this really freaking breathtaking moment at the beginning of, well, kind of like midpoint of Saga 3, where a very, very giant creature emerges from
Ooh.
water. And it is like, it's insane. Like, I don't know if you guys have gotten to that point yet.
We have
If you're
not got
playing
to
as
that
Not
point.
Sayuni.
yet.
Yeah.
But I'm
Oh,
looking
man. It
forward
is.
to it. Oh,
We
my
had
God.
literally all of our capture teams, the folks at Darkburn who captured all the stuff for our trailer and everything like that. They kept being like, "Can we please show the shot? It is so cool and it's so beautiful." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no! Like we gotta
Oh, we
let
cannot
folks discover
wait.
it because it is so breathtaking. Like I just cannot wait until folks play that part of the game." Yeah, so that's probably one of my favorite moments from the game.
Oh, my gosh.
Absolutely. Oh my
Love
goodness.
that. So, going on to the next question, what tips and tricks can you share for those jumping in the game without any experience whatsoever?
Oh, okay. So let's see. I think there's obviously like don't be afraid to change your difficulty level if you feel like it's too challenging. I play on Wrath mode. That's just me. But if you gotta play on
Okay.
the story mode, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
The point is that people feel powerful and strong and like really feel like this is their legend. So don't be afraid to change difficulty if you feel like things are kicking your butt a little too much. But in terms of advice. So I favor in the beginning at least I favor my axe a lot. It's a very strong ranged weapon,
Okay.
and it's really good when you're in combat scenarios to put some distance between yourself and the enemies if you need to. There's
Okay.
obviously areas where you can go up close and like do some really cool parrying and blocking, but if you have more space, you can kind of like move around in this very fluid way and engage with different enemies and kind of like take things and strategize things in the combat scenario the way that you want to. So have a lot of distance. Don't be afraid to use range. Don't be afraid to adjust your difficulty settings and
Love it.
have fun. Yeah, like really just have fun with the game. It's like a massive game, and just take your time and enjoy the
Yes.
story and everything.
Oh my goodness.
Woo, those
Okay.
are some
Okay.
great tips.
All right. So okay, we've jumped like I said, we've jumped into the game.
Hmm.
And after just a few moments, like even in the first, like I said, first 2 to 3 hours of the game, you notice that it's a lot of diversity
Mm-hmm.
in this game. And then we got a chance to see was posted on the socials the actual voice actors, and I was like, this is one of the most diverse casts I've
Oh, yes.
seen. And so I was like, Forrest Whitaker, like, is it this game? Like, that's really
Yeah.
cool. Like, that's really amazing. And so I wanted to ask this question because from the voice acting to the character models, this is just like I said, one of the most diverse games I've seen in VR and that we've seen. So
Mhm.
the attention to diversity and inclusion is incredible to us. So how important is diversity and inclusion to you personally and to Oculus Studios and Cesaro Games?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's incredibly important. Sunzara Games is actually one of the most diverse studios I've ever had a chance to work with. And that's
Come
why
on.
I'm like so freaking excited. Like, um, yeah, like our team is so like passionate about culture and like making sure that we're capturing representation like correctly and really bringing themselves to this game, that like you'll find all these really nuanced, you know, beautiful dialogue pieces and story pieces that are written by some incredible diverse talent within our studio. So yeah, it's super important for me personally. Like I'm, you know, Japanese, queer woman. Like I am all about diversity and making sure that I see more people like myself, you know, in video games that I like playing and investing my time into. Thank you. So yeah, it's like it's always at the forefront of everything that we build. You could also see it in Resident Evil 4 too. We built incredible, you know, accessibility settings just because we wanted to make sure that nobody felt excluded when they were playing that game. So yeah, it's like it's kind of like a fundamental part of Oculus Studios and Sanzaru like games, and when we're designing, is like making sure that things are accessible and fun and inclusive for everybody.
Oh, we love it. We love it. We got to put the horns. We got to get it in because we are
Yeah.
all about diversity and inclusion. Like I said, it is something that felt very intentional about this
Yes.
game. You know, even down looking to the gods of Egypt, like you're seeing them, it's like there's so much representation there. You know,
Mhm.
so we were just excited, and it was just a blessing to us. It was like, oh,
No,
this is incredible.
And
Yeah,
it's
refreshing.
so cool. Yes.
It was
Yeah.
refreshing to see and
absolutely.
for that to be taken into consideration.
We did have another question. What advice would you give? Because we want to kind of talk back to the XR space. You know, you're talking about this representation and diversity and inclusion. Those who may look at these videos and see this content and go, "Is this something that can be for me?" Things like that. What advice would you give to someone who now wanting to get into the XR gaming space?
Oh man, I would say like, you know, first, like if you're trying to look for building VR games, like there's a ton of stuff that's already established of things that feel good in VR. But I would say like don't be afraid to try something new. Like you can take the things that people have already built and all of that research and really take it into consideration. But whenever you're building your game, like it should be your game. It should be your experience. Like bring to it the, you know, innovative, unique ideas that you have, and don't be afraid to maybe break a few rules in order to do that. For folks who are, you know, getting into specifically like VR design, like I feel like VR game design is probably one of the most exciting things that you could possibly like do in a games industry. Like I feel like there's so many new challenges, so many different ways that you have to consider user interaction and mechanics, and also like user joy too and power. Like there's so many different ways that players can just interact with these spaces. And yeah, just like, you know, if you're getting into it from the design perspective, come into it with an open mind and really just try a bunch of things. And yeah, don't be afraid to break any of the rules that you learn from 2D game development whenever you're building for 3D or VR.
Come on, we love it. We love it. We love it. Yes, like those are the things, you know. Thinking about the magic, we often say
Oh yes.
it's the magic of VR. We don't just say
Yeah.
it's VR, it's the magic. Like you feel like when we took those first steps, pun intended, first steps in VR, Joy's dancing with the robot. She was at first afraid of it, but then eventually she got straight into. You want to tell them a little bit about that experience, Joy?
It was on your headset and it was calibrated to your height. You're taller than me, so it was hovering over me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe this robot is dancing like this." But it was fun. I had a good time,
Yeah,
and
it
I was hooked. And I had to buy my own headset the next day.
like literally she jumped straight into buying this thing, and we've been in the headsets doing virtual date nights and experiencing the magic of VR ever since. So
Oh my God, I
absolutely.
love it. That is so
Oh
cute.
yes, absolutely.
And so the next question is: the show is called "Get 'Em to the Metaverse." How do you personally get people into the metaverse?
Oh man. So I actually have like, you know, in my head a bunch of experiences that I know are incredible, fun, polished experiences that I'd like to like introduce folks to whenever they first try VR for the first time. And I really try to get a sense of like, you know, what their comfort is with gaming, like whether they're used to doing a bunch of controls at once or whether they need something that's a little bit more chill. And based on that, like I really like to tailor their first experiences based on, you know, what they'd be comfortable with. I think comfort in and like, you know, options is really important in VR, making sure that when people get into a headset for the first time, they feel like, you know, they get the best of the best experience. Otherwise, you know, they might just write it off and never get into a headset again. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I have like a running list of like the best titles in every category that I could show to a person, and I just put folks in there. So for example, like my grandma, she's 83 years old, she lives in Japan, and I brought my headset to her at some point. And she doesn't have a ton of gaming experience, but I was like, what's a good experience for her is like half and half. Like half and half is an incredible experience for people, like anybody, obviously, but also like for people to chill and just really get a sense for the immersive levels of VR. And so, yeah, I just put her in that, and she loved it. Like she immediately understood, how to use the headset and what it meant and all that stuff. And so it's just finding the right, apps for the right people, and kind of introducing them to the awesome world of immersive, VR and XR content that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, I don't. Getting people into the metaverse is one of the best experiences and the best things we love to
Yes.
do. It's the magic. Once again, using that term again,
Mhm.
that's our term. That's our term. It's the magic of VR and XR that we want to share with the entire world. So just love hearing that you already have like a ready-made folder, basically ready
Yes,
to
a
help.
wedding list.
Like anything and everything someone could have.
Yes.
So
Wait,
absolutely
I
love
have
that.
a question for you guys based
Okay.
on, the magic of VR. What
Yes.
has your favorite thing been so far about playing Asgard's Wrath 2 on this
Okay.
like pre-release build?
Okay. All right. I'll let Joy. You want to go first?
So I love going into the. There you go.
Oh, the Uncharted Rift. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Just going in there and
Yes.
first of all, seeing the beauty of it
Yes.
and seeing how everything is just there, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And then exploring through it, I love playing through that. So
Yeah, so fun. It's my favorite game mode too, for sure.
And so for me, okay, so for me, she stole it. She stole mine. But Uncharted Rifts is really, really cool. I
Mm-hmm.
love and I don't, but this is gonna come out right around the time of release, so I can say this. But just the story, and what's
Yes.
going on. We're kind of like entering into close to Saga 3, and
Yes.
so going through those first part of Saga and that basis, like from the I don't want to say certain things because I want people to experience it. But
Mm-hmm.
there's just some moments. It's like just how you introduce characters, how
yeah,
characters are introduced, the
Yeah.
cinematics behind it. When you go into the Sensi for the first time, like it's a
Yes.
lot of moments that's just like, how did y'all do this? Once again, I keep going back. How was this done on Quest 2? And
Yeah.
then going into the Uncharted Rifts, and then seeing some of my content creator friends and seeing certain people there as helpers to me. I haven't met anyone yet that was trying to hurt me.
Ooh,
Not
interesting. Okay.
not yet, not yet. But I'm sure it's gonna be coming. But no,
and
it's
it makes
just
my hair stand up. Like it's the beauty of it is like
Yes.
when you first see it and you don't know what to expect. You go in there, you don't know what to
yes,
expect, and it hits you all at once, and it's like, oh my gosh, this experience, So
Yes.
you
Yeah,
know.
I truly feel like Sunzara Games, they're just like such masters at shepherding players through this experience. And so, like, from that first, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, like that first cinematic where you're getting the story from Asgard's Wrath 1, like, it just feels like you just relax and you're on this crazy ride where Sunzara is like masterfully telling you this incredible story. And then
yeah,
from there on, like, even, the intro cinematic for Abraxas, the first mortal hero, like, that's also like
Yes.
another masterfully told story in this VR environment where you're just kind of brought on this ride and really get to dive in deep with the narrative and the characters.
Yeah,
It's
the
incredible.
tutorial itself, it's not really a
that part.
tutorial. It's not
Yes.
even it's more like you're learning how to become a god. And
Yeah.
you're taking on this power. And even though yes, you're being kind of handheld in just a little bit, you kind
It
of can
doesn't
still
feel like
explore and
yeah.
really feel like I've been hitting all the vases. Everything I see that's a box. Like
Same.
literally I was like, I don't leave nothing. If there's a box, if there's
No
something I can
stone
hit,
unturned.
yeah,
Yep.
no stone
I
unturned.
know.
And
I was actually thinking about like building an achievement at some point that was like, you broke all the bases in the Temple of Fire.
yes, like it
Yeah.
legitimately is one of those things where I think people are just gonna have some fun and just explore
Hmm.
this. And then here's the thing: like you said, you've been playing this game for a very, very long time, and you still find areas
Still, yes.
that you like. I didn't even know this was here. And then, so as you're going through and traversing through the map, those are projections out there of
Yes.
people that can maybe point you in a direction or fool you if they want to be like Loki a little bit and trick you, which we've had one of those before as well. But just having a really, really good time. Like I said, for us, it's not just VR Game of the Year; it's the best VR game we've ever played.
Oh my God,
So,
my heart.
you know, I just want to, we're going to put the horns on because it doesn't, it's the scare factor is there definitely, but it's not a scare factor that make you feel like, you know, like it's not jump scary. It's
Yeah.
more like okay, there's this thing here. I got to conquer it. And you feel so incredible
Yeah.
when you do it. You know, when you lost really bad in like level 2 of the Uncharted Rift and you can get past level 2 of the Uncharted Rift, you feel good. You're like, okay, I got past the 3rd tier. All right, we about to get into this thing deeper. But I always send things back every floor. I'm like, I send this back now. I know
Yeah,
I
same.
got to keep sending it back. But
No, yeah, like that's what's the most important thing to us is that people feel good when they're playing it. You know, like they feel strong and they feel badass. Like we want people to feel like this is their legend that they are forging. And you know, hopefully people really do feel that. But it's really huge love letter from all of us on the team that's worked on it to the RPG genre, and like really taking all the things that we love about RPG games and immersive worlds and just building something that we hope a lot of people will also fall in love with.
Well,
oh
we
wow,
have definitely felt that love. For
absolutely,
real.
absolutely.
Yeah, it makes me very happy. It's a lot of hard work, like even right now going into it. So it makes me so happy to hear you guys enjoy it.
What
What message?
do you have for anyone about to play Asgard's Wrath 2 for the first time to experience an incredible full world that you and the team have built?
What message I have for the players? Yeah, I think that it's a massive game, and I really hope people just enjoy it the way that they want to enjoy it. Like, there's a reason we built, on one hand, the Uncharted Rifts, where you can test your combat, you can test your agility, you can go ham for hours and just like get the best loot. And then there's also like fishing holes where you can just fish for all day, or you can just like mine ore from a mining stack, or like craft cooking recipes and stuff like that. Like, there's so many different ways that you can enjoy the worlds of Asgard's Wrath 2, whether it is through that hardcore combat or that more exploratory aspect, or even like playing some of the mini games like the disc sliders and the slingshot game and the hideout. Like, there's all these different things. So don't be afraid to really, enjoy the world the way that you want to enjoy it. And, hopefully you take down a few gods in the process as well.
You
Most
know,
definitely.
we love that so much. You know, we were thinking just overall, just the power of this game and what it represents, not just for the platform, but for VR as a whole. So once again, we just want to thank you so much for all the hard work. You, the team, Meta, everybody who had a part in making this thing happen, because we can't imagine the time, the energy, the tears, the sweat.
Yeah.
We've been privy and being able to sit back and watch this thing get developed and get mastered and get created. But we were not in the room where you guys are staying up till who knows what time to make this thing happen. For this game comes out literally when this episode drops. It's going to be coming out tomorrow. Like that
Yeah,
that
so
is going
crazy.
to be insane. And how does that make you feel, like knowing that this
Oh,
game that you have been laboring over all this time, how do you feel,
oh
like how do you
man.
feel?
Crazy. I mean, I haven't like gone to sleep before 1 a.m. for the last like 3 months probably, and I haven't like not worked on a Saturday, Sunday last week. So I'm so excited. Like, the thing that makes me feel really excited about this game and that makes me feel really special is, even though I'm like working so hard, even though the whole team is working so hard, like it's still my favorite game. Like, I still play hours and hours of it every single day, and I enjoy every bit of it. Like, even after, maybe this is like Stockholm syndrome, even after like hundreds and hundreds of hours, I freaking love this game. And I couldn't be more happy to be able to work on it. And I'm just really freaking excited for everyone to play it tomorrow and just really get lost in the worlds the same way that I do.
Awesome. We love it. We love it. Once again, it was just exciting to have you on Get 'em to the Metaverse because this game is going to change everything for our platform that we hold true and love so much. And that's the MetaQuest platform. So once again, Marika, thank you so much for
It's
coming
been
on
awesome. Thank
the
you so
show.
much for having me. You guys are the best.
Oh, we appreciate this so much. So any last words from you personally to us, to the crowd, to anyone who's watching?
No, I mean, Jaden and Joy, you guys gotta watch all their content. Like, they're the best. Come on, like, you know, I'm just super excited to see how you guys experience this game, how you guys show the game to your audience, and really just enjoy the game. Kick ass, you know, kick those gods. And Asgard Wrath too.
We
Let's
love
go.
that. Enjoy what you got to say.
Thank you, everybody, again for hanging out with us. You saw we had an amazing guest, and make sure you get that game because you do not want to miss out on it. And Jay Dunn, what about you? Any last words?
Go get the game right now, okay? What are you doing? You need to get the game right now on the Quest 3, on the Quest 2, on the Quest Pro. What are you waiting for? I hope you pre-ordered. If you didn't, if you got a Quest 3, you get it for free. You get Asgard's Wrath 1. Like, get everything, Asgard. Just lose yourself over the holiday season in this game because it's absolutely a work of art. Okay, it is a masterpiece of gaming, and once again, it's been just one heck of a time talking with Marie. I don't know what else to say. I guess all I could say, and all we would say, is that you better tune in to the next Get 'em to the Metaverse.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
You better make sure you're liking and subscribing. You better make sure you're commenting. You better make sure you checking this out and making sure we know that you love it. Because we're going to be back real soon with more Get 'em to the Metaverse as fast as we possibly can. Until next time.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.